Board games, board games, it's what we're talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. And I am starting off this morning with a little bit of singing. And hello, welcome to the show, Xate. We're waiting for Calvin. Calvin is late. If Calvin does not arrive, we'll have alternate plans. Maybe we'll talk about this game which I have in my hands. Board games, that's what we're talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. Hello, good morning, and yeah, I am Bez. It is approximately brunch time, and I am going to be blethering about board games. So it is the Bezzy Brunchy Board Game Blether. And yeah, today the plan is to have Calvin talking about writing in games, part 2. We'll see what's happened. So we've got some people actually brunching today. I suspect there's some technical issues, so just to let people know, I'm going to chat about brilliant things, and specifically the one game that I played yesterday. And then maybe Calvin will arrive, maybe they won't. And this is where I wish I could edit names of things after they've started. But regardless, hello to everyone watching, and let's start off with the regular sections. We're going to go through brilliant thing, here's a little thing which is brilliant. Okay, so the brilliant thing that I want to talk about today is noises. I mean, noises give us information. Noises tell us about the world. Noises, you can put them into rhythm. Noises, they can make for music, and it's frantic. And noises, well, there's all sorts of noises. Yes, some noises can annoy, but even those noises which annoy, like crying baby or roadworks, those ones can, change all sorts of things. So, yay for noises. And good morning, Alan. It is lovely to see you. And moving on to recent highlights, listening to music and seeing the sights, recent highlights. So, what are some of your recent highlights? We've got Xate, who has been having a friend for lemon poppy seed Belgian waffles. That sounds pretty good. I have enjoyed a bit of cooking thanks to my great friend Layla, who, I'm bubbling with, and we were in this sort of, it was only the two of us in the house. It's all fairly safe. And it was yogurt with mustard and a bit of some herb, I think oregano, that was the one. Mustard and oregano mixed into yogurt. Also, there was some yogurt with samok, and I think it was, that was really nice. And most impressively were some broccoli muffins. Crazy stuff, I know. Having that, and that was basically the recent highlights for me. Now, moving on to games. What have we been playing? What are their names? Games. So I've been playing Manhattan Energy Empire, and just to let folk know, the plan is that say if Calvin gets here, we'll talk about writing in games. Sorry for those people who followed the Twitter or Facebook links. I probably should have waited until the guests arrived before doing that. That feels a bit dumb. But if they don't, then I will do an impromptu review of this game after playing it like 4 or 5 times. I am really enjoying it. I've got some small complaints, but it's a solid design. Yeah, Energy Empire. Played it on Monday, I want to say. Played it yesterday on Wednesday. I'd play it, probably. The only reason I might not play it next week is because I've got lots of other options. But genuinely, there's a lot more to uncover and explore. And there was a wee bit that I forgot to run my main main UN enterprise. So that is the games that I've been playing. And Aqua and Xate have been getting their joint game playtested a few times. Happy with the results. Lovely to hear. Now, before I proceed, so if you want, please feel free to comment, ask questions, and follow. And I am going to do the questionably quick questions for myself, because why not? Okay, so loading up the thing. Did I have breakfast? No. When did I wake up? Around 7:50. What's the last thing I ate? Oof. Possibly, yeah. When I went to Layla's, I think I had a little marzipan bar. It was quite nice. Although I did have 3 of these bars. One of them would have sufficed. I feel like sugar is so addictive. I feel like I just shouldn't have gotten started. All those yogurts and the broccoli muffins, especially the yogurts, those were good. I should have stuck to them. Iced coffee or hot tea? I drink hot tea more regularly, but if someone were to offer me one or the other, I would choose iced coffee just because it seems fancier. True story. Best thing to eat or drink whilst playing games? I like water. It's plain. It keeps me, quenches my thirst. Last person I spoke to in person? Briefly, George, who I live with. Books or podcasts? I love both, but podcasts. Last one I listened to was Board Game Design Lab while I was, just before my shower and just after the shower. Last physical game I played? Well, I think we've already established this. Favorite color to play? It is purple, then red, then, maybe plain wood, then green. And that's assuming that there's nothing super fancy like rainbow or whatever. I definitely prefer cards to cubes. I personally prefer wooden meeples to plastic figurines. Stacking games horizontally or vertically. I do them generally vertically like that, and because it's just easier to slide them out. But, there's a few things up on top. Rules design or content creation? Do I prefer making the structure of the rules or writing the individual cards? That's what that question was intended to mean. I prefer... That's a hard one for me. I think I prefer... Oh, it's today I would say the individual cards, and so that part of it. There's something about, okay, you've got the basic structure. Now, what are the possibilities? Now, let's work out all the possibilities within the structure. I mean, having said that, having made the structure earlier does give me a lot of pride. I mean, I'm happy with the structure of this. It's not just about the cards that I came up with, but I'm still really proud of the individual cards. And that's something that it feels like once you're at that point of designing the individual cards, you're going to have more fun playing the game, if you know what I mean. Whereas earlier on, it's more fun with experimentation. Arts or rules? I personally go with rules. Board game I love right now. Excluding stuff that I made. Well, I am really excited for In a Bond to play that tomorrow. I am genuinely excited to play that. A game that I love right now, I'm going to say, out of things that I didn't make, How Much Money by Chris Bocke. And also Go, that's a perennial favourite. And Twin It, that's a thing. Favourite board game shop, or I'm going to pick Leisure Games, but also shout outs to Ludoquist and Fanboy Free and many others. And yeah, design, development, or streaming. Right now it's clearly streaming, but I would say that generally, if it's one thing that I would like to be best known for, I'm going to say design. But I definitely like to do all three. Now, again, that is the end of the questionably quick questions. Let me know, was that quick? So we are waiting for, we might have a last minute change of plan. Sorry to those people who've popped in for Calvin. Don't know if you'll get to see them, but instead, and we're going to be talking about the Manhattan Project, Energy Empire. It's designed by Luke Laurie and Tom Jolly, published by Minion Games, which was operated by James Maffei. Rest in peace, James Maffei. James Maffei, brilliant person. You know, I've got a personal bias because James Maffei wrote some incredible articles and was a real mentor to so many people indirectly. Now let's look at the box. It says 13 plus. I would broadly agree with this. This is not a game that I would teach to my 10-year-old niece. I mean, you need to be of a certain, even for me, there's a lot to think about, to keep in your mind. And last night it was a bit late. Maybe I've got a lot going on right now, but I definitely forgot a couple of moves. Okay, so it says it's for 1 to 5 players. I've played it at 1 player, 2 players, and 3 players. And so anything I say about 4 or 5 is purely conjecture. I will say that for 1 players, I played it once. I managed to beat the potential best, the best ranking quite handily. And I felt like, okay, this managed to teach me the game. It's good. And then I didn't feel any compulsion to keep playing it, because with 1 players, it basically feels like it comes down to, are you able to build structures that don't pollute in order to keep your game going long? I'll explain what I'm getting into. With 5 players, you are going to get fewer turns. Also, there's going to be more competition for stuff. Also, you're going to get worse stuff to do. So with 5 players, it feels like I'd be interested to try it just once, but I have low expectations. Yeah, there's just, it's a worker placement game. You don't block other people. You are able to always go onto the same spaces as long as you put more pieces on. There are a set number of dice, and as you go through the game, you generate more energy, which are your temporary workers essentially, and you hire more workers, which are your permanent workers, to put on these spaces to draft the actions. As I say, with 5 players, there's going to be more competition, and also the game is going to be shorter per player, because I'll get into that with the map. It's 1 to 2 hours. I think that's, I would say it's about a 2-hour game, at least in my experience, but your mileage may vary. And Alan Outson says, going back a wee bit, my questionably quick question score was 6 out of 10. I lost 1 point for incorrectly choosing rules. I wonder what the other 3 points I lost were for. Should I have been even faster? Yeah, there's the box. There's the box. And now let's read what's on the back. In the Manhattan Project, Energy Empire, you are a world leader, making pivotal decisions to guide your nation to prosperity. Build power plants, generate energy, and use your resources wisely. Yeah, it's all about the resources. You can tell that this is going to be a Euro game. Strengthen your industry, commerce, and government. Wow, this is really exciting stuff, isn't it? all while dealing with global impacts and the threat of environmental ruin. Okay, it seems like you've buried the lead. Come on, like environmental ruin, global impact, that's exciting. Why do you not shift it up? I mean, but yeah, that's a fair representation of what the game's all about. Energy Empire is a standalone worker placement game with innovative twists. Huh. I mean, yeah, I guess it is. I mean, I guess it is, yeah. It always feels a little bit arrogant when someone says, oh, this game's really innovative. And I'm like, is it? Is it really? But yeah, actually, this is. Including custom dice to produce energy and an environment grid to track the harm you cause. Use your workers and the energy they generate to power your ever-expanding collection of structures to maximum efficiency. Only one nation will rise to become the greatest energy empire. Will it be yours? I mean, is it definitely only one? I mean, for the sake of bump, it doesn't really matter, but there's only one tiebreaker. To be fair, I don't think there's much chance of you tying, let alone going to the second tiebreaker. But yeah, that gives you a fair sense of what the game's all about. And there's a lot in the game. You can see there's a game board, structure cards, which are really, it's all about building your engine, a bunch of global impacts cards, nation cards, achievement tiles, player mats, energy dice, pollution tokens, energy tokens, workers, oil wells, science discs, steel tokens, plastic cubes, oil barrels, money tokens, and a rule book. And it is, as I said, published by Dominion Games, designed by Luke Laurie and Tom Jolly, graphic design Joshua Capel, illustration Jeffrey Edwards, and great work all round. So now let's open the box. Oh, Calvin made it! Yes, please, Calvin, come in. Yes, please come in, Calvin. Join in. I would love to talk to you. And I can finish talking about Energy Empire on another day. And basically, just to clarify, so this is the rule book. It's quite thick. It's like 16 pages. Just waiting for Calvin to get into the actual stream. These are your player boards. You want to try and not pollute stuff here or clear up the pollution here. You're going to be rolling dice to get energy. These are the 5 resources that you've got. Money. Yay, it's Calvin. Hello, Calvin.
Hi.
It's lovely to see you.
It is lovely to see you too. I'm sorry I was late.
Oh, you are forgiven. Have you played Energy Empire?
No. I want to though. I've always been intrigued by the whole Manhattan Project line of games.
I've never actually played the proper Manhattan Project. I've played this, obviously. I've also played the kind of small game that they've got about building bombs, which was a wee bit random for my tastes. I mean, basically, there's 2 really clever things going on, which maybe would be better if once I get my boom mic and set everything up. So just to explain, there's these structure cards, okay? So these are things that you buy along the way. You can buy these ones or these ones. There's a market, so it might be worth 2, 3, or 4 money. And then later on, you're going to be placing people here, doing that. And whenever you place a worker on the main board in future, and just to show, this is the main board. Folding it out. So on the main board, you see there's 3 main sections. When you play whichever section you place on, that determines which types of structure you can run. So it's like, okay, are you going to build all your engines on just one of those sections? So you do something amazing every single turn and even potentially use all your workers in one turn, but then every second turn you're going to recall them? Or are you going to spread it out amongst 2 or 3 things? And how much effort do you spend in building up your engine? Because some of the structures aren't particularly great. There's a lot to think about for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I just think that that whole not real time, but like turnless worker system is always really fun, because you have, I can put out as many workers as I want, then I have to recall them, or sometimes I don't. Do the workers, are they all equal in that game?
So there's two types of workers. There's your actual people, and then there's energy, which is represented by lightning bolts. And
Okay.
so on one turn, you do one of two things. Either you place people, which is you've got to place a person on one section of the main board, and then you get to place it on as many matching structures as you've already built for yourself, or you do the recall, as you say. So it might be that you, okay, place, next turn you place, next turn you place, and then fourth turn you recall, or it might be something different. And this is a system that's been employed by Euphoria as well, to very interesting effect, where in Euphoria, if you don't actually have to place more things, it's just if someone else wants to go on the same spot, they knock you off, and then you kind of, Xate can explain if I'm doing it badly, but
Oh no, it makes sense to me. Like you get your worker back if they kick you off, so it's like a benefit as well to be kicked off the space, right?
Exactly. And potentially you might never have to actually recall your workers if you're always placing where your opponents might want to go next. Whereas here, instead of giving a benefit to someone else by kicking them off, you're giving a drawback to other people because, well, you're having to spend more energy to place on the same spots, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, let me go do a little bit of a rewind. And so exciting to have you. Today, Calvin is talking about writing in games. Are you all right, or do you need to grab a coffee very quickly?
No, that's fine. Let's go.
Okay, so we've already done the brilliant things and everything and games I've been playing. And I'm going to ask you very quick questions.
Awesome.
What time did you wake up?
10 in the morning.
Okay.
The problem was I'd gone to bed at 6, so that's hence the mid-afternoon nap.
That makes sense. Second question. What are a couple of games that you're enjoying right now?
I've been playing Unmatched with D, Unmatched Battle of Legends. It's really, really good. I keep saying this. It's like a continuous refrain every time we talk about the game. But I picked it from my game of 2019, and I'm pretty sure at this rate it's going to be my game of 2020 as well.
Wow.
Because it's a really, really good system. Because I think my favorite thing about it is that apart from the fact that you can play it in like 20 minutes and it sets up instantly. You just open the box, unfold the board, done. And it teaches really fast as well, so you can get people on board really quickly. My favorite thing about it is that it really gets you into the feel of playing those characters. I've been playing a character from the new set called Jekyll and Hyde. Do you know what Unmatched is about, right?
Yeah, we've chatted about it before. I'm going to check if there's images that are allowed to be copied. Okay, cool. So I'm going.
The BGG page should be fine.
Yeah, because I've actually had a discussion with someone who someone was saying that if someone copied their thing, if it happened to be on BGG, they would be really annoyed. And so they said that basically showing stuff from BGG is totally uncool. But Andrew January did show me how to change the licenses, so I can at least see which ones are copying allowed. Because
I think that person meant for like reviews and tweets and stuff. Right?
No, they explicitly said for my stream. They said for my stream if I'm got, but yeah. So Andrew January showed it to me. So if you see here, like you can change the license, so it can be any, or you can go to the copying allowed. And arguably, if I were ever to become Twitch affiliate, would that mean that I should then use commercial use allowed as well? Which actually, now I look at it, are both, well, most of the ones that are one are the other. But regardless, these are the games. This is the game that we're talking about with this amazing artwork. Yeah.
So as you can see, you play as different characters from myth and legend, And my favorite thing about the game is that you get really into being that character. So the way you play Alice in Wonderland is completely different from the way you play Medusa, which is completely different from the way you play Jekyll and Hyde. So I've been playing Jekyll and Hyde, and I've been, because one of the things that is that story is he uncontrollably transforms into his evil self, right, Mr. Hyde. And I realized that the reason I was doing so poorly as Dr. Jekyll is because I kept trying to control when the transformation happened. Because I'd be like, oh, I have too many Mr. Hyde cards. I need to draw more Dr. Jekyll cards. But I realized if I have a lot of Hyde cards, I should be transforming into Hyde, because that's just how the character should be played, right? I shouldn't be playing it to try and control the transformation. That's not within the spirit of the character. If I have a lot of Dr. Jekyll cards, I should be playing as Jekyll. If I have a lot of Hyde cards, I should be playing as Hyde. That
sounds like really nice ludonarrative integration.
Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite. Totally, that's my favorite thing about it. Every single one of the characters and their abilities really integrates how it feels to embody, the fantasy of that character. Like, for example, in the same set, there's Sherlock Holmes, and a lot of Sherlock's cards require you to guess exactly what your opponent is doing. So if you can deduce what cards your opponent is likely to play, you'll get an advantage in the fight. So it really makes you feel like you're outsmarting or outwitting your opponent.
Yeah, there's so many good things that can be done with. I think we were talking with Alan Paul on Tuesday about the joy of Quartermaster General. I mean, obviously a very different game, but it's about how different decks of cards can, make different factions feel so insanely different, despite the rules being ostensibly the same. And I was chatting with Layla last night about obviously Energy Empire, which we just played, and lots of other games, and about the joy of if you go to something like Magic the Gathering, if it's the first time that you played, then it's an awful lot, and it's maybe, whoa, this is too much text. But when it's just, okay, you're seeing a few things at a time, or, okay, there's a public information and it's a public market so other people can help you, it's really nice, because then that means that you can add extra rules and add variants without adding necessarily more to learn. And, is that Kazrak?
Yes.
Oh,
that's right.
And to finish off our supposedly quick questions, how many pets do you have?
Just Kazrak. Oh, yes. Sorry, we have to do the cat hat.
Is that Dee telling you to put it on your head?
Yeah, she is the cat hat now. Yeah. Yeah, hi, we only have Kazrak. Yeah. Bez says hi.
Hi, Bez.
Oh, hi, Dee. Oh.
You have 2 dogs.
Hey. I saw Dee's Instagram recently, and there's more pictures of you, Calvin, on Dee's Instagram than there are of you on your own Instagram.
It's true. I'm been very bad at maintaining my Instagram. All of my energy has been flowing into Twitter.
It's all good. So that brings us to the end of our questionably quick questions. And today the quickness was very questionable. But let's get stuck straight into what is writing. Earlier on, before you arrived, I was reading out the back of the box.
I thought this, yeah.
Oh, where I was kind of doing it talks about building power plants, generating energy, using your resources wisely, strengthening your industry, commerce, and governments. I mean, that bit sounds really boring to me, at least. All while it should be like, deal with global impacts and the threats of environmental ruin. It feels like that bit should be up at the top. It's like they're burying the leads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. So, I mean, okay, let's actually talk about box copy, because box copy is actually very interesting to me. So, I think, okay, so the thing about box copy, what does it say on the front of the box? That's what I want to know. What are the words on the front?
The Manhattan Project, Energy Empire by Luke Laurie and Tom Jolly.
Is there any other words at all on the front of the box?
Just the publisher logo.
Okay, so the box gives you information, right? The fact that they've chosen not to write anything other than the designer names, the publisher names, and the name of the thing means something. It means that they're confident that the front of the box is enough to get people interested in finding out more about the game, or they are confident that the Manhattan Project is already an established enough brand that people will see it and go, oh yeah, it's the Manhattan Project, which is possible because it's a decently famous board game. But also they might think that they might have just overlooked the idea of putting something on the front of the box. Because if it was me, I would have put maybe just a short sentence underneath Energy Empire, maybe 4 or 5 words, just to talk about what kind of game it is, right? Like I think that what you said, like save the environment from ruin. You know,
Yeah.
a game about saving the environment from ruin. I think would have been,
fun.
you know,
Like when you've got Euphoria, I remember that tagline, "Build a better dystopia." How strong is that?
That's a very strong tagline, yeah, for sure. So that's a great example of games writing.
I'm going to actually bring 4 boxes. Okay, actually, that's not English. I probably should. Yeah, I was looking for. Okay, so this one, obviously, I'm very biased towards. So it's got Yogi. It's got my name at the top, Behruz Bez Shahriari. I mean, I asked them to put the full name, and then it's got the company name. It's got a little artist signature there. I don't know if you can see it. Caruso, the age, the player count, QR link to the video, and the hilarious game of twisted poses. I mean, I would not.
Yeah, no, that's fine. The hilarious game of twisted poses, that tells people a lot about what's in the tin. Combined with the pose of the person on the box, right? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's really good. So it tells them that it's a physical game. It tells them that it's a game that's meant to be light and funny. It's not a serious strategy game. Yeah, that's a great front of the box.
This one, Labyrinth, the card game. Max J. Cobbert, 7-99, Ravensburger.
Yeah, that's a very classic. That's a very classic Ravensburger box. Labyrinth, the card game. It says. So at least there's something there, right? Labyrinth, the card game. Because if it was missing the card game, it'd be like, is that a puzzle? You know, is it a jigsaw puzzle? Oh, yeah. Sorry, Will Cook for Board Games. You apparently have been playing it. Quite wrong. So they apparently think that the 7-99 is important information there. Like, Manhattan Energy Empire didn't have an age on the front of the box. Yours did. But Ravensburger has theirs sort of like more front and center than yours, which might mean that, you know, in the German market, it is more likely that parents might see the game based on where the game is sold, you know, wherever Ravensburger games are sold. So all of these things communicate information about the priorities of the people who designed the box. You know?
We've got, I hate to say this, we've got a lot of noise coming through from your end. I don't know if there's a quieter room that you could...
No, sadly not. Sadly not. I can switch a setting on my microphone. How's that?
Okay.
Yep.
So, kawaii.
Yep.
That's literally the only word.
Well, it doesn't tell us much about the game, but I think it's small enough and cute enough that they expect us to pick it up. What does it say on the back?
On the back, well, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 languages. It says 6-99 3 to 5, 15 minutes, 65 and cards. Offers a couple of Marc-Antoine Hoffman and Ismail Perrin. Design Noel Zwider and Felix Kinden. And English. Be the fastest to collect as many ice creams of your favorite shape and flavor as you can. Or you might see your score melt like ice in the sun.
That's pretty good. And it's got a little illustration of what the cards look like at the bottom. So that was going to be my critique of it before I saw the illustration of the cards, that the front of the box and the back of the box doesn't tell you anything about what the game looks like. But because they have the illustrations at the bottom, I think that's okay. Especially if it's like, how long is it again? Like a 15-minute card game?
Yeah, pretty much. And this is one of their really small box lines. So I don't know if you know Bandido. They've got like about 8-10 games that are this exact size and shape.
Right, kind of like Oink.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit bigger than the Oink box, actually.
I think the Oink might be marginally wider.
Okay, all right.
But finally, yes, no. The card game you can't say no to. And then I'm not going to read out all these cards, but there's a lot of text on these cards. Look at the player on your right and ask. Actually, I'm just going to read out the front one. Can I start now? Did I say yes? Do you like apples? Do you like any other fruit? Name a red fruit. Do they serve strawberries at Wimbledon with cream? Do you like cream on strawberries? You just said yes, didn't you? Paul Lemond's games, 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up.
Awesome. So this tells me it's probably a game about interacting with your fellow players. The bell indicates to me that there's a timer involved, or like maybe there's a time limit involved. But it seems like a fun little party game just from the front of the box.
Yeah, I mean, regular viewers will remember my review of it where I enjoyed it for sure. I'm very glad that I played it. I don't know how often I'd want to play it. It's one of those kind of maybe once every couple of years experience games.
Maybe,
but so do you think a tagline is important where
information is important? A tagline is one of the ways to deliver information about the game. And the less, as we've seen, right, the smaller boxes can get away with less because there's less game to talk about. Something like Energy Empire should have a ton of words on the box somewhere, if not necessarily the front, to communicate what the game is about. Aquasula says, yes, meeting people's expectations is important. So the type of art, the font that you use showcases the expectations that people will have about the game, right? The way Yogi looks versus the way the ice cream game looks, whose name I've already forgotten.
Kawaii.
What's it called again?
Kawaii.
Kawaii, yeah, okay. Probably because the name has nothing to do with ice cream. Okay.
I mean, it's cute.
I guess, sure. So we want to talk about information, right? So Energy Empire, the back of the box that you were reading out earlier, let's just use that as an example.
So should we go over it again?
I'm opening it up right now. So you don't have to read it to the audience. I'll read it to the audience. So,
okay, what does kawaii mean? Kawaii means cute in Japanese. That's basically... And so for people who are into Japanese culture or anime or stuff, then they would know that word, but it's not a normal, well-known English word that an older generation might necessarily know.
Okay, so for the first sentence of the Energy Empire box says, from the ashes of war, nations rise to power in the atomic age. It's not bad.
That sounds... Is that off the Board Game Geek? That sounds much better than what's here.
What's the first sentence of the box?
In the Manhattan Project, Energy Empire, you are a world leader making pivotal decisions to guide your nation to prosperity.
Oh, okay, so it's different. Wow, okay. Maybe they've revised it since they published the game in 2016, so the BGG thing is actually more...
But remember, it doesn't say that it's... from the back of the box, quite often the BGG thing will be different. But that first sentence on BGG...
For one thing, it can be longer. Yeah, exactly. They should have gone with this first sentence.
From the
Definitely.
ashes of war, nations rise to power in the atomic age. That's brilliant. But then, yeah, and the question is, in the Manhattan Project Energy Empire, you are a world leader, blah, blah, blah. Do you need anything before that comma? Could you not just say you are a world leader, blah, blah, blah?
Yes. Yeah, I agree. So they wasted a lot. I mean, Manhattan Project Energy Empire is literally right next to, the logo is right next to the paragraph. It's not needed. So they wasted a whole half a sentence there. Like, you notice that the two paragraphs are very tight there. Like, the question marks end really close to the end of the paragraph. So that means that they chose their characters very carefully, the amount of characters they got put in there. And this, I feel, however, that they made a mistake, because they shouldn't have said in the Manhattan Project Energy Empire. I don't think they should have had it there at all. Right? So they could have gone with that big paragraph, that big opening from the Board Game Geek page, right? From the ashes of war, nations rise to power in the atomic age. And then I think we should do what you said, right? What you said was the good part. You said that it's something about commerce, industry, and government. That's boring.
Deal with global impacts and the threats of environmental ruin.
Yes.
Deal with sounds weak. I mean, I don't know a better phrase for deal with.
Grapple with, grapple with, or like overcome.
Yeah, overcome.
Right? Yes. For sure.
And Aquasulis asks, does the game feel like you're a rising nation? And well, you've not played it, but in as much as any game feels like anything, I mean, in as much as Agricola feels like you're a farmer, because you're never actually starving or getting hungry or anything. It's not like an immersive LARP or something where you're actually being shouted out and there's a lot of bleed. But sure, you've got a growing number of structures, you're able to do more and more, and you're going to get more energy going on as the game goes on, which does feel like you're building a nation. I could see that, especially if I was told up front, hey, you are developing your nation. I could be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I get that. And actually, if it was like, the other thing that I want to say is there's maybe one niche. How much of what is the purpose of this copy? Is it just to get you to open the box and tell you whether you will enjoy it or not?
It's to sell you the game, right? If someone's picked up the game from the shelf, they want to know whether they will like the game. Right? They've already taken that first step. So either they already know about it, or the cover art is interesting enough and they've actually looked at, and now they're looking at the back of the box. You're trying to get them to buy the game. That's the whole point of the box copy. A lot of the games that I own, actually, I've never actually seen the back, because I buy them, I unshrink them, and then I put them straight on my shelf, or I open them and we start playing. And then we put them back on the shelf. And then years later, for whatever reason, maybe I'm storing it sideways or whatever, I pick it up and go, oh, is that what it says on the back of the box? I've never seen it.
I was just hoping to find just one lying around. Unfortunately, it's not near me. But there's definitely something lovely about games that do this sorts of 1, 2, 3 structure, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah, I do. I think I know what you mean.
So King Domino does this really well, saying 1, do this, 2, do this. And even Yogi, like 1, draw. Well, that's not the English. Sorry, I can't speak Japanese, but it's basically saying 1, draw a card. 2, do what it says, keep doing it.
Right, yeah.
3, if you ever lose.
That's showing what the game is like. So that's for a physical game, that's probably a better approach, because instead of passively explaining what the game is about, just show what the players do when they play the game. Yeah, I think that's a great approach. It's about what did the Aquasulis say, like expectations, right? Like matching the players' expectations to what the game is actually about, and also telling them what to expect so that they will enjoy the game and buy it.
So this kind of feels like it's more advertising copied than something that's necessarily imparting information. I mean, sure, you don't want to betray the expectations. You want to set up expectations and then be able to meet them.
Yeah.
But yeah, what with something like Chronicles of Crime, which I'm just popping up because this also happened to be near me. It's got all these quotes here. So this game is simply outstanding with a little icon of Edo and love this. Let me tell you, it's fantastic. All these quotes from different reviewers. And then London today, you just left the police chief's office. A body was found in Hyde Park and your boss just made it your case. It's not your first investigation, but something about this one feels worse than usual. You shake off your thoughts, start the engine, and drive to the crime scene. Time to get to work. Chronicles of Crime is a cooperative game of crime investigation using scan and play technology to mix digital and board games. It allows for many crime investigation stories to be told with the same components, interrogate the suspects, collect evidence, and arrest the murderer before you run out of time. And then it's got some bullet points, it's got the components, and it's got a nice different font. So the flavor is in this kind of flavorful italics. The just description is in this other font that you can see.
Yeah, so that's using this box is using graphic design to differentiate the type of information, right? Because it's making clear with the reviewer logos that the game is telling you that what reviewers think, not trying to objectively say that, oh, this game is the best game of all time. And I really like Nick Butler's point. The back of the box is social agreement. It could be the front of the box. I think this just comes from book publishing, where the front cover and the back cover are different.
I mean, you know, Abyss, what they did with that game is they had a front of the box with literally no words on it. You know this one?
No.
So literally, I'm going to see if there's any copying loud pictures of this game. For Abyss, from 2014.
Yeah, I do know, yeah. So that was memorable because they didn't even put the title of the game on the front of the box, and they had 5 different covers, box fronts with all the different sea monsters on the front. Yeah, that was really good. That was a really well marketed game.
And there, that gives you an idea of the game we're talking about. That is literally one of 4 pictures that are copying loud for that game. But Javier asks, do you think games should include best with number of players? For example, some games are sold as 2 to 12, but we all know they're only actually fun with 5+. And one thing I personally love is what Jamie Stonemaier Games did with Between Two Cities, where it says something like 3 to 7 players with a variant for 1 to 2.
Yeah, I think that's good. That will help. I think help people make a more informed decision, and I think it's a little bit better than something like I think it's better than just stating 2 to 12. Yeah.
And so you think you should have some indication best with X?
If it okay, well, we'll talk about why the number of players is on the box to begin with, right? The number of players is on the box so that people can make a purchasing decision, right? Can I actually play this game? Is it a 2-player game? Does it require 3 people? That means I can't play it with myself and my partner. Does it need 10 people? So that means it's only for parties, right? So I think it is better to always have more accurate information, but you could also, I think partly maybe the reason some people don't do that is because you run the risk of losing a sale, quote unquote, because Between Two Cities, like you said, is for 3 to 7 with a variant for 1 to 2. So that's sort of covering all the bases, right? Works with 1, works with 2, works with 3, but people, like Aquasulis just said, I guess that a publisher never wants to turn people away. But at the same time, once you sign the game, you've sort of made the decision that you are turning some people away. If this is a 2-player, then it's going to be a 2-player game. And different publishers have different strategies for that. Some publishers will have, like, they say, okay, this year we want to publish a 2-player card game and then a multiplayer card game. Like, and when I say card game, I mean like 15-20 euro box.
Sure.
And then we're going to have a big release.
So something that could also include counters and potentially even a small board. It's not what the components are, more about the play experience and the price points.
Yeah. I mean, when companies talk about releases, they always have to think about their price points, right? Like how they're going to introduce it to the market. This is also important. Talking about shipping, this is a bit not quite writing, but it's a bit like back end of the industry. But like,
well, I guess it comes into what you were saying earlier, that it's all about giving information, and yes, it is. Best stats is on BGG, as Aquasula says, it's a community vote. And you could do something like this, but then how, if I saw that, would I even understand exactly what the publisher means, let alone someone who's...
You might have a little graphic underneath that reads best at. Plays from 1 to 6, best at 3 to 5. And that's a graphic design.
Sure, but then you're asking... Yeah, you're asking a lot of consumers. Like, honestly, Yogi, it says 3 to 10. I think that if I were to say what this is best at, I would probably put 4 to 6, 4 to 7 is probably my favorite player count for Yogi in a bind. And there's a question, how expansive do you want to be? Because I know Carla Kopp, Weird Giraffe Games, does a lot of solo games and prides himself on basically turning a game that's originally been submitted as a 3 to 6 player game and then saying, okay, I'm going to work out a way to get it to be a 1 to 6 player game. And is that something that publishers should be more wary of? Should publishers be a bit more restrictive with their player counts? If because genuinely with Kitty Cataclysm, I might be changing it. It says it's 2 to 5 people on the back of the box, but people have said, oh, it's really best at 3. We like it plays at 2, but it's not the same experience. So at that point, should I really just be saying, okay, it's a 3 to 5 player game, which does sound really limiting, but then people who are like, okay, I'm always going to play it at 2 aren't buying it and not getting the full experience.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I have some games on my shelf that say start at 3, but I've played them at 2 and they're fine. It's a different experience. Maybe not the best experience, but they're fine. I'd match the way we talked about later, sort of like an opposite example. It says 2 to 4 on the box. And yeah, it works at 2, 3, and 4, but I personally think that it's best at 2. But there's nothing wrong with the 3 and 4 player modes. They're just not my personal preference. But some people might enjoy them more. And so I think the other thing, best at, is also subjective.
Of course.
Right? What kind of experience? People say best at maybe because it's too luck dependent at the other player cards. But what if people are looking for that kind of experience? So I think it's I think the more important is not more important, but one other important aspect to look at is like playtime. Oh yeah, what Javier just said. I like what Amigo does, where there's a scale of 1 to 5 with luck, strategy, etc.
And Cosmos does a similar thing, where they have even something like riddle creation, something like that, almost arbitrary things. And yeah, so Xate says that they play Kitty Cataclysm only at 2. If we have more, there are other fillers that we can't play at 2 that we then play. But other people have told me that they feel almost sad about having it 2 to 5 on the box. They say, okay, it's not really a 2-player game. But someone's also said that they played it at 7 players, making house rules, which I just think for me sound terrible. But if someone else wants to do it, so it's like, do I, as a publisher, do I say, okay, you can play it at 2, it's slightly different. Maybe I even mentioned that there's a 1-player variant, because there is, even though that's not the best. And Nick Butler comes up with this brilliant pun. The side of the box is probably the most exposed and most seen part of the box, and often overlooked. People just won't take sides.
I refused to acknowledge that pun earlier, and now you've gone and highlighted it across the bottom of the screen. Terrible.
Yeah, so I do want to highlight, I mean, this is a marriage of graphic design and illustration and writing, all of this conveyance of information.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
And it then bleeds into, the rule book, which is the part that's not just there to entice you, but is also to convey information more than anything else. I feel like maybe because I realize we've already reached pretty much 11 o'clock, and I'm going to start aiming to make these 70, 80 minutes-ish. I wonder if we could keep it just to the outside of the box, if there's...
Yes. Yeah.
So what...
I do want to point out that the outside of the box is 1,000,000% consumer focused. It is not focused on the people who stock the game at the shop. They get a completely separate thing called the sell sheet, which is like a one-page document which explains information that, in particular, that's not available on that. Like it explains like the key selling points of the game. It has minimum order quantity. It has the size of the box. It has how many boxes per case. It has MSRP, right? It has like the barcodes for the game. So this is purely for the like commercial side of things.
Yeah, for sure.
So whatever's on the box is consumer side. So it's intended for people who see the game in the store or pick up the game at a convention to read.
If I just grab like a small case of, although this is French, it tells you, okay, this is what you're getting inside. It's 6 units, and this is how someone might buy Yogi if they were buying the French version.
Yep, for sure.
And it's it tells you, here's a standing thing here, all sorts of stuff.
I want to go back to talking about back of the box copy. So the thing about it is that I used to write. Part of my job was I used to write descriptions. Hang on. Sorry. Yeah, I used to write descriptions of games for the website that I work for, boardgameprices.com, because the vast majority of descriptions that publishers had were crap. I would say that. Thank you. I would say that 99% of them were not very good. 10% of them were not bad, but they were aimed at people either for BGG or looking at it on, in the store. It was not optimized for people who were looking at it online, which is a big way that a lot of people do their shopping now, right? So if you go to any site, if you go to boardgameprices.com right now, is there a way to show the screen? You can show the screen, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's cool for me to show all the board game prices stuff.
Yeah, I don't work there anymore, but it should be okay.
Okay. So what am I looking at? Should I just click on a random game? Blood Rage?
Gloomhaven. Yeah, Gloomhaven.
Oh, I mean...
Okay, I wrote this.
Valhalla Calls. Blood Rage is a board game of Viking conquest and dominance, with incredibly detailed and gorgeous miniatures for its Vikings and monsters alike. In Blood Rage, you take control of a clan of Vikings just as the world has gone to Ragnarok. The battle begins for the end of the world, and you must battle and pillage and quest in order to gain the most glory and be taken to Valhalla. Each game of Blood Rage sees players drafting cards to improve the abilities of their clan, recruit powerful monsters with massive miniatures to match, or barter for the favor of the gods. Then they must lead their clan to victory using the strategies at their disposal. But winning is not everything. It is only the clan with the most glory that shall rise to eternity. Buy Blood Rage if you want a game which never plays the same way twice, or if you love the theme of Vikings battling for glory, or simply want to grace your table with some of the most beautiful components of all time. And then you've got some links.
So if you click on game info on bgg.com, you'll see that you'll see the copy that is the official. BGG always has the official version, and you'll see that it's different from mine. Right?
Well, normally when it's supplied by the publisher, it says at the bottom, supplied by the publisher. So even though it's likely to be supplied by the publisher, this could quite well be something that's a mashup by Eric Martin.
Oh, that's true. But
for example, if I look at Yogi, yeah, there's none of this was written by me, and none of this was written by Gigamic. I can tell you that for sure.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that all of this was written by Eric Martin, who actually does a really good job. That first line, in Yogi, players are challenged to contort their bodies in unusual ways, ideally doing better than everyone else in their impersonation of a pretzel.
It's a great first line. Yes. Yeah, that's really...
basically tells you literally all the rules, because honestly, the rules are like 10 words.
Yeah, for sure.
Draw cards,
yeah.
Read cards, do what it says, never stop. There's a bit more to it than that. You take turns.
What I would add to this, if I was writing it for board game prices, is I would talk about how many players Yogi is right here in the text, because technically it says it on Board Game Geek, but you have to look somewhere else. You know, I would have its own paragraph. Yogi is a dexterity-based or a physical card game for 3 to 12 players that plays in 15. I would physically say that out loud somewhere in the description, because it's about conveyance of information, right? Like if you go back to my Blood Rage one, we'll look at, so at the top, because it's a thematic game, I feel comfortable with having a big, like one sentence of storyline kind of like near the top. So the very first sentence is Valhalla calls. So it's to, the reason I put that there is to sort of give the feeling of what the game is about, right? It's about being pumped up. It's about being awesome. So that's the feeling that I meant to create. Blood Rage is a board game of Viking conquest and dominance. So conquest and dominance is like two verbs, kind of, to conquer and to dominate. So it's sort of telling you what you do in the game. It's
so I
not
noticed that in this short bits of text, literally every paragraph repeats the name Blood Rage.
That is called search engine optimization. It is, yeah.
So if this was not for a website, if it was for a back of a box,
yeah,
would you repeat the name of the game?
I probably wouldn't. I would take, like, for example, I would take out in Blood Rage, right? I would just say, take control of a clan of Vikings. But the reason it's there is that SEO means that the more times Blood Rage appears on the page, the more relevant Google thinks it is.
Fair enough. I guess that's definitely some of the technical marketing bits of writing.
Yeah, but those tiny things aside, you can see that the top part moving to the second part like conveys different things, and each thing gets its own paragraph, because you notice I start talking about the mechanics in its own paragraph. Right, so that if people are looking for the mechanics, they can read that one and just sort of get the whole thing, right? Whereas the other sentences are more like overviews or like general summaries of what the game is about. But what
this is very good advertising copy, because at the end it's a call to action. What marketers say, buy Blood Rage if blah blah blah, and it's not saying.
If you want a game which never plays, so it doesn't just say buy Blood Rage now. I think it's better to say buy Blood Rage if this is what you're looking for, right?
And I think that's very strong. Can I just so I want to show you this is quite extreme, but just looking at so this is a game for 2 to 5 players. So please don't back if you want to play on your own or with 6+ people. This game takes 30 seconds to 17 minutes. Game usually takes 7 to 10 minutes, but the longest game ever out of hundreds of serves playtest was 17 minutes. If that sounds far too long, or maybe you only like games that are much longer, then please don't back. On the other hand, it can sometimes take as little as 30 seconds if people are silly and let the other players win. If you want a game that takes 29 seconds or less, definitely don't back this game. This game is chaotic. You can be a dick to your friends and family. There are many cat puns. You need to think about what card to play. That is pretty much the entire game. If any of that doesn't sound like fun, then please don't back. Conversely, if you do like the idea of a quick, chaotic game about card play and cat puns, please read on. I mean, I know it could be improved, but what do you think of that kind of, reverse psychology almost, you could call it?
I really like it. I think that this game is chaotic. That paragraph should be at the top.
Yeah, you're right. I think that was probably symptomatic of my own, things that I had going on. And there's definitely a part of you that wants to say, yes, I want people to buy this game, but I only want to buy people to buy this game if this game is for them. And for the back of the box, so now the back of the box, I need to change it. I should just remove all of this, put all of this onto the sides, and put pictures of cards there. I'm aware of that. But this game is chaotic. You can be a dick to your friends and family. There are many cat puns. You need to think about what card to play. That's pretty much the entire game.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great.
Thank you.
It's sort of irreverent, but it sums up the game really well. And especially if you put the player count and the time there, it sort of paints a really vivid picture of the game. I'd like to look at one more of my things.
Yes, for sure. Which one?
We go back to Gloomhaven.
Gloomhaven. Okay, just bringing it up. And the original Gloomhaven. Yeah, the original. The land... Oh, do you want to read this out loud?
No, okay, sure. The land needs a hero, you're just a mercenary. I really like that. I'm very proud of that sentence because I feel like it paints a picture of Gloomhaven that is accurate, but also sort of sets it apart from all of the other dungeon crawlers. Because when you hear dungeon crawlers, like, oh, so we're the heroes, right? Like, no, not this one. Not in this one. Not in this one. You're sort of out for yourself. You like money. Yeah. Welcome to Gloomhaven, a truly epic cooperative board game of diceless tactical combat in a persistent world. Your adventurer must explore, fight, and plunder their way through this realm, with decisions that will form your personal experience and reshape your world. No two groups will ever play Gloomhaven the same way. Over many sessions of Gloomhaven, players will fight through dungeons, level up, make moral decisions that will permanently affect their world, and discover new lands. With 95 scenarios and 17 character classes in the box, Gloomhaven offers years of content to discover. Buy Gloomhaven for an epic fantasy campaign through a land with permanent decision-making where combat is based on your wits rather than the dice and hundreds of hours of adventures. If I were to change this now, it's slightly too long. I say it's slightly too long because it repeats itself a little bit. So I would clean up some of the repetition.
Where's the repetition?
Well, for example, like it says, like with decisions that will form your personal experience and also make moral decisions. Those are the same thing. I would have merged them.
Make moral, yep.
Make moral decisions that will permanently affect their world. Yeah, I would have just merged the two. So that's like, you saved 7 to 10 words.
Yeah, because I mean, people, sure, if a word is setting scene, words have to have purpose. And it's not saying that everything has to be written to a professional level. I mean, very recently, especially when I'm just chatting with someone, there's a bit of, okay, I'm going to make typos, and right now I have to be okay with that. My keyboard isn't working as well as I'd like, and if I miss out the word O or double hit L, I'm sorry. Yeah. But if it's kind of, okay, public, I want to at least solve those. And if it's, something that's going to be seen by potentially then thousands of people, that is actually you're making the main thing to try and sell a game or to try to sell your own game, that's something that you need to put a little bit more thought into. Aquasulis saying that, do I have any problems with the word dick? I have had one person refuse to have it. I've also had one, let's say, distributor refuse to stock the game because it has the card Cat Ass Trophy in it. Because, sometimes you can run into catastrophic circumstances if someone plays a Cat Ass Trophy. But yeah, I would probably, for the second edition, you can get your claws out or something else. Like, there could be more puns here. This, you can
flick your tail. No, but yeah, get your claws out is pretty good. That's really good, actually. You can get your claws out to your friends and family. It's, I think, conveys the same kind of feeling. And as a bonus, is a cat pun.
Exactly.
Yes.
But, it's a solid description. I see that if we go here and if I compare it to the other page that you had for Blood Rage, they do follow a clear, similar framework.
Yeah.
Starting off with this, boom. I mean, Gloomhaven is stronger. That's just, the land needs a hero, you're just a mercenary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, 9.5 words. It kind of reads a lot shorter. And having that to draw you into it is really cool. And then you kind of talk a bit more about it over the course of a couple of paragraphs. And then Bly Blood Rage, by Gloomhaven 4, Bly Blood Rage if. I think you're right. It's not just buy it, but buy it if you want this. I think that that is a really solid.
The thing is that it's a call to action that one of the things I like about it is that it benefits the reader as well. It's not just benefiting the site, because the site obviously wants you to buy the game, right? But I tell you right here, if this is what you want, then you should buy this game. If you prefer combat without luck, if you want an epic fantasy campaign, if you want hundreds of hours of adventures, then buy Gloomhaven. I'm obviously not saying if you want a quick, fast, dice chucker, don't buy Gloomhaven. That's not what I'm technically saying it, but I'm not saying it,
Yes.
For sure. So
I think that's a really good thing, because it's about wanting to make that sale and attract the people who are into it, but also making sure that when people get the thing, they are going to be happy with what they bought. That people feel like, okay, I spent the money on this thing.
Assuming they read
what? Yeah.
Assuming they read it. They might not have read it. They might have just gone, oh, 112, buy. Yeah, that's fine. That's something I can do.
Yeah, someone spends, this much money on a game without, reading this bits of text. That would kind of boggle my mind. But presumably they know what Gloomhaven is if they're not going to read even this amount of text.
Yeah.
I mean, for sites like this, are most of the sales going to be for people browsing? And then how much is this text going to matter, I guess? How much is it just search engine optimization?
It's search engine optimization, and it's also definitely introducing games to people. Like, Gloomhaven and Blood Rage are famous. But I did a lot of work on games that were not famous too. I wrote 50 of these a month. Right? So lots of these are going to be just like little games. Here's an example. If you type Descent, I did all the
Dissent. Descent.
Yeah.
Oh, those games,
I did all of the Descent expansions. You just type search here.
Yeah, it's just taking a bit of a wee moment. Okay, so the Troll Fens, for example.
Any one. Not with the base game, maybe an expansion. Open one of the expansions. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wrote this.
The Troll Fens is a small box expansion to Descent, Journeys into Dark, the dungeon crawling board game of fantasy adventure. The Troll Fens features a mini campaign with 5 quests that players can play either on their own or as part of a larger quest, a new Infector class of Overlord cards, and new enemies, including Plague Worms and Harpies. On the other side, the Stalker and the Prophet bring their skills to bear as you venture through the depths of the Troll Fens.
Yeah, get it? Yeah. Look at the art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy Troll Fens to add variety and depth to your Descent collection and defeat the monstrous Bolgorith.
Yeah. So this
and
is
again,
an
you've
example.
got the name in every single paragraph, and Descent, presumably because you want to talk about Descent, but this was just purely for flavor because it's like, well, if you like weird words, then presumably this is for you.
I do want to point out that FFG is very easy to do this for. Every time FFG puts out a game, it was really, really easy for me to write the copy for it because FFG has very consistent marketing standards. I actually think that's probably the reason why they are one of the most successful companies in the games industry, because their marketing is very strong. And when I say their marketing is very strong, what I mean is simple things like they have photographs of their game when you want to promote the game online. I know, because some board game companies cannot even do something like we have photographs of what the game looks like so that when you write about the game, you can have a cool photo. Most frustratingly, Gloomhaven.
So holding my hands up to that.
Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven has no official media kit. Gloomhaven, for a long time, if you remember, was the most popular board game on the planet. On boardgameprices.com, back when I was in charge of the analytics, searches for Gloomhaven were like 5,000 times more than the second highest game. Like people search for Gloomhaven 5,000 times more than they search for whatever was number 2 at the time. Maybe, Scythe or Wingspan or whatever. So it was incredibly popular and very, very high interest. And there were no photos of people playing it. So every time I wanted to write an article about Gloomhaven, I would end up having to use the same few Kickstarter images because I can't be using people's, I can't, and I didn't own the game at the time, so I couldn't take my own shots. And that when I actually got my own copy of the game, I was like, oh my god, finally I take some shots and upload them to the website so that I can actually use them when I talk about this giant game. Yeah. So having part of a whole coherent marketing strategy is really important, and I think something that a lot of board gamers don't board games companies don't quite do well enough, in my opinion. I understand if it's like one person, if it's like, like you, Bez, you're like a one-person publishing company, right? I get it. That is fine. But I sort of get really baffled when people like Rio Grande has no photos of any of their games. They are one of the oldest and biggest board game companies. Come on, Fantasy Flight. Despite everything you can say about them, and there's lots of critique that you can have about their products and the way that they support their product lines, and maybe you can critique their designs or whatever. Their marketing is top. Every time they announce a game, there's like 7 to 10 images of what all the cards look like. There's like, those nice 3D render fans of the miniatures. And there'll be like a press release where they talk about the features of the game. Like doing anything, media related with Fantasy Flight is a dream because they basically provide everything for you. And it's so easy to write about, so easy to talk about their games.
I mean, it seems like yeah, working out what should go in a press release, absolutely, that's something that I would really like to learn from. I know that it's ideally the front of the box, the shots of the box, the components, and just basically as many images as you can provide.
Yeah.
And
you can link to a media kit, yeah, better than shoving it all in the press release. But yeah, I mean, just do what I did for Gloomhaven and Blood Rage, write 3 or 4 short paragraphs about the game, so that media people can have a look, and you can add information like, if you'd like to learn more, here is a how to play video, here is a review from the Dice Tower or whatever, that's fine. As part of the press release, that's fine.
I think that's definitely something that at some point I should get someone who's on to talk about, possibly someone else, because media press releases and being able to get good information out is such a big thing. I mean, to me, it boggles my mind that even Tabletop Gaming Magazine, so like the UK actually print media gaming magazine, they don't take their own photos. They only use the photos of what's supplied to them or what's freely available, which is really interesting. Because
the thing is, right, with board games, here's the thing with taking pictures of board games, right? First, you have to have a photographer who's got the equipment, who's got the gear, who knows how to take photos of board games, and then you got to send them the board game. This might not be feasible in terms of like in our industry, because you have to ship the game usually from China. It's not a matter of shipping it from your office, right? You usually have to ship it from the factory in China, send 1 copy to your photographer. And that's a cost, So it's a cost that some companies either are not willing or not able to take on. And that's fine. But, if the game is already out, I feel like even it doesn't have to look professional. It can just be a picture of Des holding the game going. And I think it would look charming.
Maybe I should do that, like kind of, like...
Wouldn't that look
probably need to find a white background, right?
Like if you open the BGG images and there's a photo of you going, isn't that nice? Doesn't that feel like it's very on brand for you? If you want it a little bit more serious, I've told publishers this, like, get Rainer Knizia, whoever designed the game, to just like sit at a table with the box next to the box, and like smile at the camera, and maybe the game is laid out in front of him. I'm happy. I'll use that.
Yeah, I think this is definitely something that's going to happen. And, I am at the point now where I just want to let people... Actually, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say... Yeah, I'm not going to say something. But I am at the point where, thanks to the success of Yogi and me continuing to try and pick up other bits of work where I can, I am getting Chris to basically help me out, who is a professional photographer. And, not this month, it's just occurred to me that the thing that's going to sell a game, the reason that this game sold about 1% of what this game has now sold isn't just because of the packaging, although that's a part of it, but it, like the packaging, the marketing, all of that's run together. And so literally 100 times more sales for this than this at this point, which is still amazing to me. And now it's in Swedish. So, yay. But anyway, the point is that, I'm aware that going forwards, frankly, if I want my self-publishing to be even a self-sustaining thing, where it's at least isn't making a loss and I'm able to, let alone draw any sorts of income from it, it has to be marketed. I have to get those photos out. I have to get how to plays out. I have to really think about this is the thing that is going to sell it. Going back to the writing and trying to focus on that a little bit, we've got Xates who says, really? Could you ask Rainer Knizia, a German, to smile?
They do
But more
smile, I've seen.
Rainer Knizia can be incredibly silly. Did you see Rainer at the when they were promoting llama last year for the Spiel des Jahres? Had a little llama in front of their groin, basically. It was kind of like they were pretending that they were riding a llama, although they clearly weren't. It was because just trying to be a bit wacky.
Javier, not off the top of my head, I can't think of one.
I mean, I'm aware of Javier and I both have affiliation with, Alley-Cat Games, who've put stuff into the DICE theme park, at least for future stuff. But no, I guess I don't know if this counts, but yeah. Don't know if you notice, if I look at parts of the barcode, do you sort of see what... Oh, wait. It's this... Wait, which way around? Yeah, is that the correct way? Yeah, that should be the correct way for you. Do you see?
No, sorry.
Look at the numbers. What they vaguely look like.
I'm sorry, I'm very, very bad at this.
It kind of vaguely looks like Quibble.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's cute. That's very cute. Yes.
And also for In a Bind, I wrote it as best as I possibly could, which was, but I couldn't get the thing to work at all. So this was the best that I could get. And that doesn't look like In a Bind at all. But yeah, you just couldn't even tell that. But yeah,
that's okay.
That was...
It's like subtle little things that are always fun.
But yeah, and for Kitty Cataclysm, it's a bit more irreverent.
Oh, I see. Yes, cute.
So
I do want to before, I guess we're sort of winding down, right?
yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, the barcode was intended.
Yes. I do want to talk about, because last time I was on, maybe a few times ago, I was talking about this big project that I was...
Oh, has it been announced?
Yes, it has.
Oh my gosh, let me look on your Twitter page.
Yes. Yeah. So click on media and then scroll down a bit. You can bring it up. You can bring it up, and everybody can see the super secret project has finally been announced.
Okay, media, and I'm looking at Calvin's Twitter page right now, and we've got Kazrak One Eye.
Yeah,
and
fine. Forget about that. Just scroll down. Scroll down.
Is this not it?
And I was not involved with that one. That's very exciting too. A new Descent game is very exciting, but that's the one.
There we go. So, Prophecy of Kings expansion.
Yes. So that was just announced. That was just announced 10 hours ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And so this is releasing November 2020. So what did you do for this?
I cannot tell you yet because my part has not been announced and will only be announced tomorrow. But this is the game. Yeah, I know. Very, very, very frustrating. But they haven't actually said anything. So technically my NDA is still, in effect. So I can't talk about unannounced stuff. But they did announce this. I can say that I worked on this.
On parts of it?
In part of it, in some small capacity, yes.
Is there anything else that I can look at, or literally just this images?
If you scroll down some more, there's like some more images and stuff. No, you have to go back to media. Go back to my media.
Oh wait, I think yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, all those there's component shots and stuff.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. So I've known about this since May. And this is one of my favorite games, and I've had to keep quiet about it and not tell anyone about all of the amazing content that is in this ridiculously generous and gorgeous expansion. Like it's a $100 US MSRP expansion, and they've packed it full to the gills of new stuff, and I'm just absolutely, really, really, really psyched about it.
So this expansion, I mean, that's the price of quite an expensive game. So this is really one for people who are already entrenched.
Yeah, for sure. And to be fair, I think I really feel like from all of the stuff that they told me, they really threw the kitchen sink at it. Like everything they could think of, they put in. There's like 14 sheets of punch board, I think, in the expansion or something ridiculous like that. No, actually, wait, no, not 14. Can't be 14. But there's a lot of punch board. There's a lot of plastic. You can see it's obviously not a small box.
So that's the stuff. Yeah. That is super cool. And I think this picture probably illustrates everything. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah. Still teasing us
So-
covered. Yeah, I wish they had already announced it so I could talk about it. But anyway, they will be announcing it tomorrow. Tomorrow they'll be doing an unboxing of the Twilight Imperium, the new expansion box, on their stream. And I'm told that after they do the unboxing, they will announce My Thing, and then My Thing will be available for everyone. That's yeah, okay, so that's a hint. Available for everyone. So they'll be releasing it, and everyone can get at the thing that I was involved in.
Yes, Calvin is invited back again.
Okay,
And
sure.
I think we did agree that you are going to come on for my birthday on the 13th of August.
Yes. Amazing.
Okay.
It's
And,
such an honor. I get to be on the birthday stream. Amazing. Javier says, what are your favorite narrative games or games which create a strong storyline? Twilight Imperium. Android, which is the game from 2010, I think.
So not
2000.
Android Netrunner, but the original Android.
Yeah, the original Android, and also Android Netrunner. So those three.
And special guests on your birthday. Sure, if you make your own live stream, remind me when your birthday is, and yeah, I'll come on and join you if that's something that you want to do. Great. But winding down, let's talk about what we started off with, the back of a box. For example, this, which is a box. What is some ways that it's good? What are some pitfalls to avoid? And finally, some tips.
Information. What information you give to the player is the most important. How can it be good? You should always try and sell your product in the most interesting possible way. Don't bury the lead.
Yeah.
You know, I think for most people, the thing is, I think that the problem is that a lot of these things are written by gamers with gamers in mind, but gamers have other ways to get to know your game than the back of the box. I think the back of the box should 1,000,000% be focused on somebody who passes by your game in a shop, goes, ooh, and then picks it up. So those are the people you should definitely be targeting with, in my opinion, with back of the box information, because those are the people who are actually picking up and reading the back of the box. So how might it be bad? By try to avoid terms that board gamers use, like deck builder. Nobody who's not a board gamer knows what a deck builder is. They hear deck builder.
Yeah, when I look at this, okay, it's got one term which is unique to this, which is structures, but it says build your ever-expanding collection of structures to maximize efficiency. I mean, if you're a gamer, it's telling you that it's an engine building game, but it doesn't use those words. It does it in a really nice way. You're building structures.
Yes, for sure. So that's a way to introduce people to it. You know, that doesn't use tableau building or engine building, because people will be like, what? You build cars in this game? You know, because that's the first thing people might think of when they hear the word engine.
Oh, I want to make... Is there an engine building game?
Yeah, probably Kanban, right? Or
I mean, you're not really making the engine, though. You're making the whole car.
Yeah, well, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about like a game in which you're actually making the actual engine. Maybe it's like got physical cogs. Maybe it's like, you know, you make your own Solkin sorts of thing. Anyway, I'm getting distracted.
Okay.
How to make the good stuff? Do you have any closing tips for myself or anyone watching?
Most important information at the top, and then less important information going down towards the bottom. And definitely think about how you can use graphic design and pictures to lessen the amount of words that you have to put. Because if you can have the icon, 3 to 5 players, so that saves you having to write the words 3 to 5 players in the box copy.
Okay. So just to pick up the things from the audience, we have had references to deck building, the deck building game, and there is obviously the wonderful Point Salad, the Point Salad game. And deck building, the deck building game is a bit... I believe that deck building, the deck building game for me was a massive disappointment, and it was way too fast, and there's a broken strategy in it which seemed to make the game not go through the enjoyable part. But I loved it as an idea, but the execution seemed to really off. Conversely, Point Salad, the Point Salad game does revel in that same frivolity and ridiculousness, but it actually works. And the game carries on for the requisite amount of time you expect. You do the things that you're expecting. It meets expectations. It is a garden deck, correct. And regarding you coming on the 15th, I already have Japanese Saibepu, but if you wish, sure, come on and we can chill out together afterwards. But that brings us to, I believe, the end of the show. Thank you for getting here. It was good to see you, and it has been a great chat as always. Was a little bit, concerning at the start, but
my fault for falling asleep and without an alarm. Yeah, it's my fault.
All good. Where's the... So if we want to check out stuff from Calvin, this is the Twitter. There.
That's a Twitter right there. That's a Twitter.
Let me ask you a question. What's this Twitter handle all about? Oh yeah, you said it's like
it's my World of Warcraft character from 2004.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how do you pronounce it? Ifela?
Ifela.
Okay. And that was a really good chat. Let's talk about things we're looking forward to and hopes and ambitions. Things we're looking forward to, hopes and ambitions. It's over to you for this final section.
I mean, we cheated and I talked about it already, but I think that's they're announcing tomorrow, so that everybody can finally know the secret. Yes, and my hope and ambition is that that secret leads to more secrets in the future that I cannot tell people about, and it's horrible and frustrating.
But then you get the payoff of seeing all the people enjoy your thing, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the hope.
I mean, we could get into whether Point Salad is a Point Salad-based game. I think it is. You're getting points in a very big variety of ways. Sate is looking forward to finishing up their games and sending them in and hoping, I'm going to call that to hope, to winning. Because that leads me to my things I'm looking forward to and hopes and ambitions. I'm looking forward to seeing Chris coming over. Chris might already be here. And then we're going to get some stuff done. I'm going to be playing Puzzle a bunch more times. Finaling up some rules, sharing that on Saturday, I want to say, because that is actually the middle of 1st of August. Did you know that 1st of August lasts for 50 hours? A day lasts for 50 hours. Did you know that?
Yeah, because of the time zones, yeah?
Yeah, because of Kiribati and Baker Island. Because there's one place that's GMT plus 14. It doesn't just go to -12 to +12. It actually goes to +14. True story.
Ridiculous.
So yeah, a day, any day is technically 50 hours if you look at it from a global point of view, which is why the other thing that I'm really looking forward to is my next streams, which is tomorrow. And why is it all the way down? I've done this really badly. Oh wait, I'm doing another stream tonight. I completely forgot about that. So I'm going to be playing Giftable tonight at 8 p.m. And then tomorrow is going to be the start of the Beza Days shenanigans. This is a sealed copy of In a Bind. It was printed in 2015 and launched in shops in 2015. And I'm going to be doing a live unboxing because, I've only got a few copies, but it's the 5-year anniversary on 1st of August. So I'm very excited about that. I didn't manage to have the illustrator of Yogi. They unfortunately are up in the mountains with really bad reception, so they can't join us. But I do have other amazing people for this whole thing where basically every day, 2 p.m, we're going to be playing In a Bond, which Xate has helped me make. It's kind of like some people are playing In a Bind and they are companies and being given cards and they have to do things, and then their stock price increases, and then there's traders who are investing money in these companies and then pulling out the money as soon as the person literally fails, if that makes sense. So maybe we might see a company literally collapsing. We'll have to see. I mean, it depends. I don't want anyone to get actually injured, but, we will see what happens. I hope that we're going to have some dramatic falling and stuff. Every day it's 10 a.m. is an unboxing of either that or the expansion deck or a French edition of Yogi on the Sunday. Then 1 p.m. is going to be chat. 2 p.m. is going to be In a Bond. 3 p.m. I'm going to have a prize draw, and then we're going to be chatting stories until the rest of the night. I'm really excited to have Ben Neumann, who I've not talked to in ages, but is an American person who's a designer, who used to be part of Playtest UK, and was a big part of the reason that this exists. Like, their encouragement and advice early on really led to me making this. I'm having Fraser Gibson and a couple of other people who played a big part, and also other people are just now friends, like Kathleen Mercury and whatnot. And yeah, that's true. And yeah, it's exactly seeing how In a Bond works. I'm really excited for that. And so that is genuinely what I'm looking forward to. Oh, also, just so people know, over the course of the day, if you do hashtag, I'll repeat this tomorrow, but hashtag art requests, hashtag Bezday at Stuff by Bez, then I will draw whatever you ask for, which I should, like you draw it like that, and put it on Twitter, and I will literally draw. Obviously, I've got the ability to say no if it's something that I find immensely objectionable. If someone wanted me to show someone being murdered or killed, or like extreme violence like that, I would probably say no. Or if someone said, hey, draw 1,000, like basically it's things that I can draw in like 10 minutes. I'm not going to draw 1,000 cards. Just because he can fit it in a tweet doesn't mean it's easy to draw. But if someone says, hey, draw a squirrel looking on as the Lone Ranger is about to dive into a swimming pool, then that was actually a really fun thing to draw that I drew a couple of years ago. And that was one of my favorite requests. But yeah, sorry for whittering on. That is what is happening, and I'm looking forward to. And we finally have, stuff. Where's my things? If you want to check me out, there is also that, and please check out this form. I will share this form one last time, because this is the In a Bind photo competition. Please do enter. You might get drawn in the original style of In a Bind. There's a design competition, which feel free to enter it. There's only a few hours left. It's probably not long enough to come up with a winning entry at this point, but why not enter? The whole point is this year, I'm going to get myself, Chris, and Layla, I'm going to start having more of a process. We're going to start off by playing literally all of the games that I can understand the rules for, and just spending 3 days solids just going through all of them, and you'll hear all of our feedback. I'm going to be doing that bit privately, but I'll share all those links to the individual offers. Please do enter. My websites are stuffbybez.com, Twitter.com/stuffbez, and basically Stuff by Bez everywhere except for Facebook, and where I'm Things by Bez, and YouTube, where I don't have a tag yet. And if you want to find Calvin, then it's either Ifela or dingandentcast.com. It has been a wonderful show. I have definitely thought a little bit more about exactly how to market my things on the back of the box. Oh, we've got exciting. And it's funny, like starting off kind of reading this because you weren't around, but then it led into talking about the back of the box.
I thought you were doing that to talk about the back of the box. So it was like Calvin can't be here, but we'll talk about the writing anyway. That's what I thought you were doing.
Well, I thought I'd kind of focus on the writing a little bit, but I just thought in case you don't get here anyway, and we'll just start reviewing it. But yeah, I think that it just underscores how much work there is, even in the smallest of details. Whether it's, the sides of the box, which I've been really thinking about the sides of the box recently. Kawaii, I want to say this is my favorite box side. So vertical, horizontal full information, horizontal short information, bump that no one needs. Because who puts their games like that? No one, that's who. So yeah, they're going to be doing it that way.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I think that's a really strong box of sides design. And I'm literally taking that as a role model. I would just want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in and those who gave questions. Thank you, Javier, Alan Oughton, Andrew January, yourself, Aquasulis, Xate, Nick, and CD. It's lovely to see you join us in the comments here. And most importantly, I want to say, thank you to Calvin. Thank you to Fantasy Flight Games for being awesome. And thank you to those people who uploaded the pictures who we used on Board Game Geek and Fantasy Flight stuff. And what was the other place? BoardGamePrices.com.
But I'm not with them anymore. But you can visit them if you want. Good Board Game Prices.
Yeah, and most importantly, thank you. And also thank you to Kazrak and thank you to Dee. And but yeah, to wrap up, do you have anything left to say before we say goodbye?
I guess, tune into the FFG stream tomorrow to find out what my thing is.
No, what time is that?
I have no idea.
Well,
you have to look. You can look on the FFG Twitch page.
Make sure you tune in to my thing at 2 p.m. UK time. But hopefully you'll be able to tune into both of them. Honestly, for me, 2 p.m. is going to be the highlight. And if you've enjoyed this, share it, spread the word. We've got after Thursday, it's basically going to be crazy for the next 3 days. And as I said, that's going to be the coming streams. And there is only one thing left to do. And that one thing is to say bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show.
Trying to make a B.
Bye, bye. Bye,
In a bite.
bye.
In a bite. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Now it's time to go. Bye-bye.